Hello and welcome to a fresh session. Today we are going to start with the ecology part, and in this ecology part we are going to study different chapters, and we have selected one topic amongst these. Now, as far as the ecology is concerned, let's see the introductory part of the ecology, and then we'll go across the topics that we study in the part of ecology. Okay, so the title starts with ecology. When we come across ecology, ecology is nothing but it is the interaction between organisms and the environment. So it is the interaction between the organisms and the environment. This is what is termed as ecology. So ecology deals with the interaction between organisms and the environment. In the nature, we are going to study regarding the part of the nature. In the nature, many organisms are there. Plenty of organisms are there. In fact, millions of organisms are there which are continuously, constantly interacting with the environment. Yes, it has to do because there is a relation between biotic as well as abiotic components also. So this part where we also call it as an ecosystem, the interaction continuously exists in between the organisms along with the environment. Okay, now regarding the part of the ecology is concerned, we come across a person who has did lot of work on ecology, and he is regarded as a father of ecology in India, and his name is Ramdev Misra. The person called as Ramdev Misra, he is called as father of ecology in India. He is regarded as a father of ecology in India, as he did lot of work on the ecology, he did lot of work on the ecosystem, and finally regarded as father of ecology in India. So this is regarding the person who worked on the part of ecology. Now, in the part of the ecology, mainly there are 4 topics where we are going to discuss them in detail. The first one is regarding the organisms and the population. Second one is ecosystem. Third one is biodiversity and conservation. Fourth one is the environmental issues. So these are the 4 topics that are included under a major heading called as ecology. Now we are selecting a part out of these chapters in the ecology where it starts with biodiversity and conservation. Now welcome to the world of biodiversity. So let's start with the biodiversity. So before going to the part of the biodiversity, just have a quick look at this video.
Biodiversity is a term that represents the total variety of all life on Earth. That's a big thing to sum up. Thousands of different wild habitats, millions of different species, billions of different individuals, and the trillions of different characteristics they all have. The total biodiversity of our planet is immense, which is a good thing, because the more biodiversity, the more secure all life on Earth is, including ourselves. Only when life is at its most varied, vigorous, biodiverse, can we hope to thrive. We may not know it, but we need towering forests across 1/3 of the land surface to lock away carbon and keep the climate stable. We need millions of pollinators and billions of soil organisms and megatons of plankton to keep the food we eat in supply. We need strange plants deep in jungles to create our medicines, and coral reefs and mangrove swamps to protect the coasts we depend upon. Our planet's biodiversity provides all the things we need for free. But it will only do so if there's lots of it, and at the moment it's under attack. In the last 50 years, our activities have dramatically reduced biodiversity across the globe. We've snuffed out habitats, reduced populations of wild animals by 60%, and even driven whole species extinct. The number of lions in Africa has dropped by 65%. The number of individual flying insects in Europe has dropped by 75%. The number of bluefin tuna in the Pacific has dropped by 95%. Biodiversity is dropping everywhere and fast. This is catastrophic for nature and therefore ourselves. We talk about climate change a lot, but biodiversity loss is as important an issue. How do we stop this loss of life? How do we ensure that biodiversity, our planet's vital statistic, begins to increase again? In fact, we already know exactly what to do. Follow Our Planet, visit ourplanet.com and watch the series on Netflix.
Wow, look at that video. This is the beauty of biology. That means as you come across various types of species which are present in the nature, as you have observed, and as you know, other different types of animal species also, plant species also, insect species. Along with that, look at the world of biology, and welcome back to the world of biodiversity. So let's start with the definition of biodiversity, which already you saw it in the video. So we start with the biodiversity. As the name says, bio and diversity. Bio refers to biological organisms. Diversity refers to distribution of these species throughout the geographical area. So that's why biodiversity can be defined as it is the diversity of the living species. It's the diversity of the living organisms, and it is nothing but a distribution of all the life forms over the geographical area. So biodiversity deals with it is the distribution of all living organisms throughout the world or geographical regions. Now this is what is termed as a biodiversity. Now we have lot of biodiversity in the nature. We have a lot of biodiversity even in our country also. Regarding the part of the biodiversity, the term biodiversity, it was given by a person who is named as Walter G. Rosen. So the term biodiversity was given by, instead of was coined by Walter G. Rosen in the year 1985. This was the term which was coined by Walter G. Rosen, and this was popularized by a famous sociobiologist called as Edward O. Wilson. So it was, the term biodiversity was popularized by a sociobiologist called Edward O. Wilson. Look at their names. The term biodiversity was coined by Walter G. Rosen, and the term biodiversity was popularized by one more person who is called as Edward O. Wilson, and because of this reason Edward Wilson is regarded as a father of biodiversity. Then who is called as father of biodiversity? Edward O. Wilson is regarded as father of biodiversity. Now as we know, we come across different persons who have did their pioneer work on various parts of biology, and they are regarded as father. So that's why what we say generally is biology has many fathers: father of genetics, father of biology, father of botany, father of biotechnology, father of ecology, father of various parts which are present in the biology. Okay, so this is regarding an introductory part. So this is what is termed as a biodiversity. Now regarding the part of the biodiversity, as we know, if we look at the nature, look at the species richness, look at the total number of species. The total number of species might be plenty. That means they are in millions and trillions of the species are there if we look at their number. But in terms of their species richness, even the species richness is also more. Okay, suppose if we take an value of a certain species richness in the world, then let's take some common examples. Okay, for example, in the nature, if we look at the species richness, there are around 20,000 species of ants. Look at their number. There are around 20,000 species of ants. So 20,000 species of ants. Hardly we might have saw 2 or 3 species of ants. Okay, like the black ants, red ants, termites. Okay, look at this. We might have saw around 2-3 different species of ants, but in the nature there are around 20,000 different species. Look at their species number. 20,000 different species of ants are present in the nature. Look at the mega diversity of the species. Okay, then apart from this, there are around 3 lakhs species of beetles. Look at the number of the beetle species here. There are around 3 lakh species of beetles which are discovered. I am talking about those species which are already discovered. 3 lakh species which are discovered. Then around more than 20,000 species of orchids. Look at the number of the orchid species here. More than 20,000 species of orchids are present in the nature. And if we look at the fishes also, around 28,000 of fishes. So 28,000 of fishes. Now these are few examples which we are quoting. Look at the species. 20,000 species of ants, 3 lakh species of beetles, more than 20,000 species of orchids, and 28,000 of fishes. So they are present in the nature. So these are the discovered one. So we don't know still how many species are existing on this planet Earth. So this is regarding the biodiversity. This is regarding the distribution of the life forms throughout the geographical area. So this is regarding the introductory part. Now, as far as the ecology part is concerned, biodiversity and conservation is concerned, lot many species have been discovered till now. We are going across the types of biodiversity, where we come across 3 levels of biodiversity. The first one is regarding the genetic diversity, species diversity, and ecological diversity. So it is in the heading called as types of biodiversities. Okay, let's go to the heading of types of biodiversity. In these types, first we have genetic diversity, second we have species diversity, and third we have ecological diversity. So these are the three types of diversities. First we come across genetic diversity, species diversity, ecological diversity, where it is also called as a ecosystem diversity also. Then let us study them one by one. Now as the term comes, diversity, various forms, distribution of the living forms. This is what is termed as a diversity. So genetic diversity, as the name says, let's study them one by one and let's look at the examples amongst these also. So first let's start with the heading called as a genetic diversity. Now when we come across the term genetic diversity, it is nothing but different types of genes present in a species. So that's why we also call it as a diversity in genes. Or different kinds of genes in a species. There might be a little bit change in the genetic makeup, and this occurs in the sexually reproducing organisms. The detailed account of this you are going to study in the part of genetics. Okay, now regarding the genetic diversity, genetic meaning genes. As far as genes is concerned, even there are little bit changes in the terms of the genes, which is called as a genetic diversity. Now that's why we call it diversity in genes is termed as genetic diversity, or different kinds of genes present in a species is called as a genetic diversity. Okay, now if we look at these genetic diversity, genes are also different, and it also varies from one organism to another organism. Now as far as the genetic diversity is concerned, we come across one example called as Raulfia omitoria. Okay, so this is an example of a plant where we call it as a Raulfia omitoria. Now this Raulfia omitoria, it is a plant, it is a reserve fine yielding plant where it consists of certain chemicals, and these chemicals are of medicinal value. They are of medicinal value because Raulfia omitoria is a plant which produces certain chemicals where we also call it as reserve fines, and they are used to treat certain diseases like hypertension. Hypertension meaning high BP. So high blood pressure is treated, is cured with the help of the medicines that are obtained from a plant called as a Raulfia omitoria. Similarly, we have different kinds of plants also, different types of plants also called as a Raulfia serpentine. Okay, where we call it as Sarpagandha plant also, which is of medicinal value. Look at this part. Now in this Raulfia omitoria, if there is a genetic difference, then the reserve fines, the chemicals which are produced in these plants will differ definitely in terms of its chemical formula. Okay, so this is what is called as the genetic diversity. Even the genes also varies from one species to another species of the plants. Okay, then apart from this, if we look at the other examples here, India has, if we compare with this plant, if we look at the other species which are present in the plant, India has more than 50,000 species of rice plants. So India has more than 50,000 species of rice plants, and here we also call it as strains. Look at the diversity of species in the rice plant itself. India has more than 50,000 strains or species of a rice plant, and in the rice we have different forms also. We know the basmati rice, jeera rice, apu rice, various other kinds of rice also. Okay, so India alone has more than 50,000 species. That means look at the species richness here. Look at the total number of species. Here we are talking about various types of species in rice plant only. Okay, then let's go to the second example. India produces a plant, a fruit, and that fruit is called as a king of fruits. Yes, the season which is going on now, and where you are having that fruit also, it is a mango. So mango grows in India. So India has more than 1,000 varieties of mangoes. Look at the varieties of mangoes here. India alone has more than 1,000 varieties of mangoes, because the best environmental condition that is suitable for growth of this mango plantation is our country only. We don't find these mangoes which are grown in America or in Switzerland. So their mangoes are not grown, as we don't grow apple in our state here or in any other states. We grow it in the Kashmir region. That means that environment is suitable for growth of those apple plants. Similarly, our Indian climatic condition suits well for the growth of the mangoes. That's why we grow mangoes abundantly in large quantity. And look at the species there. We grow Alfonso mangoes, we grow Ratnagiri mangoes, we grow other kinds of mangoes also. So that's why India has more than 1,000 varieties of mangoes. This is due to genetic diversity. This is due to change in the genes. As the genes will change, even the taste also changes from one to the other plant varieties. Okay, so this is regarding the part of the genetic diversity. So with this, let's move on to the second type of diversity. The second one is a species diversity. Okay, so second one is a species diversity. As the name says, how can you define this species diversity? Again, diversity in the species or distribution of different types of species in the geographical area is said to be species diversity. So diversity or different types of species in the world or a geographical area is said to be species diversity. Now, human beings belongs to one species called as Homo sapiens, cat belongs to one species, dog belongs to one species. Look at the various types of species. This is what is called as a species diversity. Then if you look at one species, for example dog, in the dog how many subspecies we find? Look at them. Okay, we have various types and all the dogs are produced from the wolf breeds only. We are going to study in the part of evolution. Okay, because The species which we are looking now in the present world, they are evolved species, and those species have been originated around millions and billions years back, and we are going to study it in detail account in the chapter called as evolution. Now, lot many species are present today. We are observing them, we are looking at these species. The question comes whether the species which are formed now, the time taken is short. No, it's not so short, it's very long process. And what we are doing, whether we are preserving that species, okay, think over it. Okay, we'll discuss about that also. This is regarding the part of the species diversity. Then here we have an example. If we compare the Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats, in both of these regions we have abundant species. In both of these regions we have lot many species. Now, out of these two, which has the maximum number of species? Either it is a Western Ghat or it is a Eastern Ghats. Western Ghats refers to towards the Arabian Sea, and the Eastern Ghats refers towards the Bay of Bengal. Okay, towards that. Now, Western Ghats has highest species of amphibians than the Eastern Ghats. Look at this part. Now, Western Ghats has the highest amphibian species while compared to the Eastern Ghats. That means if we look at the amphibian animals like frogs, toads, salamanders, ictofish, so various types of these amphibian species, the amphibian species richness is highest in the Western Ghats and is less while compared to the Western in Eastern Ghats. That means amphibians are more in Western Ghats, less in the Eastern Ghats. Look at the species diversity, because the environment also plays an important role for the survival of the species. This is what is called as a species richness. Okay, this is the diversity of the species. Okay, then with this we'll move on to the next part. The third one is ecological diversity in the types of diversity. The last one is ecological diversity. Again, the definition can be framed based on the heading only. So the third one is ecological diversity. Okay, now in the ecological diversity, this is nothing but diversity in ecosystem. So ecological diversity refers to diversity in ecosystem. That's why the ecological diversity is also termed as a ecosystem diversity. So diversity in ecosystem, or a distribution of different types of ecosystem over the geographical area, is said to be ecological diversity, or it is also termed as ecosystem diversity. Then what are the different types of ecosystems that we have in the world? Now if we look at an example, various types of ecosystems that are existing in this world. So here various types of ecosystems, it refers to the deserts, rainforest. Now look at these parts. Now in these deserts and forest, almost the species richness is also different, and in these regions we observe different types also. Then mangroves, then coral reefs. Okay, so mangroves, coral reefs, they have different types of species also, and the ecosystem also varies here. Then estuaries and alpine meadows. Okay, even the species richness also varies amongst these also. Okay, then apart from this, now here it has the greater ecosystem diversity. Have greater ecosystem diversity compared to Scandinavian country like Norway. Scandinavian meaning European countries like Norway. Suppose if we compare the species richness, the species richness is less in Scandinavian countries like Norway, while in case of the deserts, here we have different types of species. In the rainforest, again the species are different, and even that ecosystem also varies. Desert is an ecosystem, then rainforest, it is an ecosystem, their species are different only. Mangroves, again salt water areas. Coral reefs having corals. Estuaries where the sea water and the river water gets joined. Then alpine meadows where herbs, shrubs along with the water bodies are present. Okay, they have the greater ecosystem diversity while compared to the Scandinavian, or we also call it as European countries like Norway. Now look at this. So this is regarding the various types of biodiversities, majorly three biodiversities: genetic diversity, then species diversity, and ecosystem diversity. So with this, we come across a question. We are going to study various types of species which are existing in the nature. Now the species which were present in the previous centuries, previous eras, whether they are present now. Now what happens is all the species which are present in this world, they have the equal rights to survive. Then we have to conserve, we have to preserve, and we have to save this biodiversity, not only for our use, but it is for the use of the future also. Because remember, what we give to the nature gives back the same to us. So that's why if you are humble to the nature, nature is also humble to us. Otherwise, wait and watch the consequences which will happen in the coming days. So that's why preserve and conserve the nature. It also preserves you, it also conserves the species. It doesn't mean that we can survive for a longer time, it doesn't mean that, but it helps in survival of the species. So that's why the species has to be conserved, the biodiversity has to be conserved. Question comes, how many species are present in the nature? How many species are discovered till now? Remember, a record according to IUCN 2004. So there is a record according to IUCN 2004. According to IUCN 2004, International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resource. Now this IUCN is now renamed as a WCU, World Conservation Union. So here IUCN is now named as a WCU, World Conservation Union. Now according to IUCN 2004, the total number of species that were discovered, identified, named and catalogued were around 1.5 million species. Look at the total number of species which were catalogued by IUCN. So IUCN 2004. That means the total number of animal species, the total number of plant species that are identified, categorized and named are around 1.5 million species. This is according to the year 2004 given by International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resource. Okay. Now from 2004 till now, still lot many species, around more than 1.7 to 1.8 million species have been discovered, even more than that also. but here we are going to the NCLT part. According to 2004, the total number of species discovered where 1.5 million species are discovered. Now, whether all the species are existing in this world or whether the species number is still more than this or it is same or very less, many guessed that in the ecology, in the ecosystem, in the nature, throughout the geographical area, there are around 20 to 50 million species. According to few ecologists, they suggest that in the nature there are around 20,000 to around not 20,000, around 20 million to around 20 to 50 million species. According to some ecologists, what do they say? The total number of species that are present in this world might be from 20 to 50 million, but according to one more person called as a Robert May, he is an ecologist. He says that the total number of species that can exist or that may be present throughout the globe might be around 7 million. So according to Robert May, he suggests that the total number of species, different types of species that are existing in this geographical area, it is not that much bigger or higher as we have discovered only 1.5. Few say that around 20 to 50 million species may be existing in this world, but one of the famous ecologists named as Robert May, he says the number is not so huge. The total number of species that might be present throughout the geographical area or throughout the world might be around 7 million species. Look at this. Out of 7 million species, we have discovered 1.5 million. Okay, now according to the recent research, we have reached up to around more than 1.8 million species. But look at the total number of species which are present in the nature. Okay, that means you have a lot of chance to discover these organisms, because majority of the species have been discovered from the temperate regions where the species diversity is little bit less, but lot of species are yet to be discovered in the tropical regions, in the tropical rainforest, where we also call them as a evergreen forest. And remember, out of these forests, we have a biggest forest in the world which is called as a Amazon rainforest, where lot of species are discovered, and this Amazon rainforest is called as a lungs of planet Earth. Remember, it is the lungs of planet Earth. And regarding that part, we are going to continue it in the next session. So until then, stay tuned. Thank you.